Today we're looking at the real estate market activity for May for the entire East Bay. At the end of the video, I will also have a monthly market report for the overall US market. Let's start with the 880 corridor. Inventory-wise, all the cities are down. Only Albany is unchanged and San Lorenzo up by one property for sale. The number of sold properties are down all across the board. The numbers are significantly down. Prices are all down all over the 880 corridor. Hayward and San Leandro, the biggest decline at 22% and 20% respectively. Moving on to West Contra Costa County, inventory numbers are all down. Number of sales transactions are all significantly down. El Cerrito down 60%, the biggest decliner. A little bit of good news for San Pablo in terms of home prices. It managed to gain 3%. Hercules is unchanged and everywhere else it's down. Moving on to Central Contra Costa County, a little bit of a different scenario here. Concord and Martinez down, while Clayton, Pleasant Hill, and Walnut Creek increases in inventory. Those increases in inventory didn't do anything in terms of sales. The number of homes sold are down across the board for Central Contra Costa County. Sales prices in Central Contra Costa County are all down. Moving on to La Morinda. In La Morinda, inventory is up across the board. But when you look at actual sales, only Moraga was up. Lafayette down 54% and Orinda down 36%. In terms of home prices, Lafayette up a good 9% while Moraga and Orinda both down double digits. In the Tri-Valley, Alamo was the only city that inventory was up. Just like San Lorenzo, up by one property for sale. The rest of the cities all down. Take a look at Dublin, only 9 properties for sale. Number of sold properties all down except for Alamo unchanged. Prices are all down in the Tri-Valley. Finally, the Delta, Discovery Bay, the only city up in inventory. Number of transactions are all down. Antioch and Brentwood down 50 and 51% respectively. Sales prices in the Delta are all down, but I can say that only Oakley was down big at 10%. All the other cities are down marginally. That's the East Bay summary. Now, let's see what's going on across the US. Let me share with you this quote from Doug Duncan from Fannie Mae, and he said this: "Interesting turn of events on a quarterly basis. Home prices rose as seasonally adjusted 1% in Q1 of 2023. The fact that prices rose slightly in the first quarter is evidence of significant pent-up mortgage demand despite ongoing affordability constraints. I believe this is also true of our local market here during Q1 of this year. So certainly good news and welcome news here in the first quarter, which leads us to the question of, have home value declines stabilized? If we look at the leading indicators that measure month-over-month home prices, I think there is proof that this is happening or has happened already. Look at this Case-Shiller and FHFA and CoreLogic. This is a look at month-over-month prices going all the way back to January of last year. We had several months of declines and then it started to go in reverse. So does this mean it's over or no more declines? You know, I can't say that entirely for sure, especially because March and April, we started to see another slowdown. But what you can say for sure is that home prices are not in this wild, crazy, or free fall decline that everybody was expecting. Or not everybody, but a lot of people were expecting. Black Knight sums this up perfectly. Just 5 months ago, prices were declining on a seasonally adjusted month-over-month basis in 92% of major US markets. Fast forward to March and the situation has done a literal 180 with prices now rising in 92% of markets in February. Again, for me, the takeaway here is not so much as we are going back up again, but rather the declines that everyone was worried about, crash-like declines, hasn't happened or hasn't materialized. Okay, in terms of inventory, I'm not going to cover that because we all know by now that there is a lack of inventory. So let's just leave it at that. The last two things that I want to touch upon are foreclosures and recession. Moving forward, we will start to hear more and more about foreclosures in the coming months. And I believe that we need to put it in context. There's information in the news that says inventory is going to rise with a flood of foreclosures coming to the market. There was a new report that came out from Adam in the middle of April, and the title was US Foreclosure Activity Continues to Climb in Q1 of this year. While this is factually correct, I think it did a lot to mislead people. And the headline starts popping up like more Americans are going to lose their home to foreclosure, as foreclosures in the US, as foreclosures is on the rise. Foreclosures jumped 22%, repossessions hit a high in the last 3 years, and foreclosures jump, and so on and so forth. These types of headlines. Let's take a closer look at this so you know what I mean when I say it's factually correct but misleading. The first piece here, there were 1 million fewer foreclosures in the last year than the average heading into 2020. These are actual numbers that we had. And as we've come out of this foreclosure moratorium that we had during COVID, we should expect foreclosures to rise, but not at the rate that it's going to dramatically impact inventory and basically shoot us back into a buyer's market. I think whoever is writing these headlines are either just sensationalizing it or obviously didn't look at this next graphic that I have here. This is a look at US properties with foreclosure filings going all the way back to 2005. That big spike when we had the mortgage meltdown. And if you go all the way to the right, yes, you can see the graph that it's going up, but nowhere near that huge spike that we saw back in 2008. Back then, there were over 9 million distressed properties, short sales, another distressed sale category that happened. A lot of people got hurt. A lot of people got impacted. So nothing like what the headlines would lead us to believe. Here are the actual latest foreclosure activity by the numbers. 95,000 or almost 96,000 properties with a filing in the first quarter of this year. 65,000 started the process in the first quarter. So what's the message in all this? I think Realtor.com summed this up pretty well. And that has really worked out very well for everyone. Another topic that's been hot lately is recession. I'm not here to discuss what a recession is or what a recession will look like or if we're heading to a recession, etc. Here's what I want to share with you when it comes to housing and recession. Most people want to know how would a housing market be impacted. And I'm here to tell you that a recession doesn't equal home prices going down. Not always. Bankrate sums this up really well. They said during a traditional recession, the Fed will usually lower interest rates, and this creates an incentive for people to spend money and stimulate the economy. It also typically leads to more affordable mortgage rates, which leads to more opportunity for home buyers. Now, I'm not saying that it's good that we get into a recession or anything like that. What I'm saying is that in 6 of the last recessions, 4 of those recessions, home prices actually went up. The other 2 times, back in 1991, it went down by less than 2%, and in 2008, it went down almost 20% when it was actually the housing market that caused the recession. And if you look at my next chart here, these are the corresponding mortgage rate changes during those 6 recessions. Finally, let me leave you with the pros and cons of buying a house during a recession. First, less competition. Now, here in the Bay Area, that means you're not competing with 15 or more buyers. It doesn't necessarily mean completely without competition. Second, prices can be lower, or again, here in the Bay Area, it just means instead of bidding 100,000, 200,000 over, it may mean 25,000 over. And third, we've already covered low mortgage rate. And here are the cons when buying during a recession. Hey, thanks for watching, and hopefully you got a lot of information regarding what is happening in the Eastbay as well as what's happening nationally. If you need help buying or selling a home, give us a call, a text, or an email. Thanks.